Welcome to Time of Death. This video is for informational purposes and in no way meant to glorify or condone violence. In today's video, we'll be discussing the murder of Trevor McCraney. McCraney was shot and killed on Tuesday, March 7, 2017, in the 200 block of Liberty Court in Long Beach, according to LA County coroner records. Joseph Jeremy Bronson was subsequently arrested and charged with the murder. The following is the evidence at trial. At around 4 p.m. on March 7, 2017, Fernandez was working the drive-thru line at the Louis Burger on Atlantic Avenue in Long Beach. Defendant, who was driving a burgundy BMW, was a customer in the drive-thru line. Flores and her boyfriend, the victim, were on their way to Petco with their two dogs, who were in the back of their Toyota Corolla when they decided to stop at the Louis Burger to pick up some food. They pulled into the drive-thru line and placed their order. Defendant's BMW, which had a license plate on it, was in front of them. As the victim drove forward, he was distracted by one of the dogs and picked his foot up off the brake. The car rolled forward and bumped into defendant's BMW. The victim reversed his car. Defendant exited his car and checked if it had any damage. The victim said to defendant, "My bad, are you good? My bad, bro." Defendant responded, "Nah, fuck that, on gang," and then called the victim ugly. Defendant didn't say anything about any damage to his car, nor did he ask the victim for his driver license or insurance information. Defendant returned to his car and drove up to the drive-thru window. Fernandez could see the two men arguing. Defendant paid for his food, french fries and a strawberry soda, and Fernandez handed it to him. Defendant threw a water bottle at the Corolla, and then he threw his strawberry soda at the car. The soda hit the front of the Corolla and some of the liquid spilled into the driver's side window, staining the victim's t-shirt and pants. Defendant exited the drive-thru lane, turned right onto Atlantic Avenue and drove south. The victim drove up to the drive-thru window, but he didn't stop to get his food. Instead, he followed defendant's car onto Atlantic Avenue. The BMW stopped at a red light at Atlantic Avenue and Broadway. The victim drove up alongside defendant's car, got out of his car, and approached the driver's side of defendant's car. The victim said to defendant, "Come on, get out the car, let's go." Defendant didn't respond. While the light was still red, defendant made a right turn onto Broadway, driving the wrong way on the one-way street. The victim slammed his hands on the BMW's trunk as the car drove off. He got back into the Corolla. His girlfriend told him they should go home so he could change his clothes and they could then go to Petco. The victim made a U-turn and started driving home. The victim made a left turn onto 3rd Street. He saw defendant's BMW and followed it into an alley, Liberty Court. The victim was not yelling or making any gestures out of the window, and he didn't have a weapon. Defendant stopped his car in the middle of the alley. There was no room for the victim to drive around, so he stopped behind it. Defendant got out of his car. He had a gun in his hand and he pointed it at the victim, who tried to put the car in reverse but put it in neutral by mistake. The victim said, "Oh no, we gone." Defendant pulled the trigger on the gun, but nothing happened. He cocked it back to put a bullet in the chamber and began to shoot at the victim as he walked toward the Corolla. When defendant reached the open driver's side window, he fired 4 shots at the victim, including an execution-style shot to the back of the victim's head. While defendant was standing at the driver's side window, the girlfriend was trying to shield the victim's face with her foot. Defendant pointed the gun at her and shot her in the leg through the open window. He also shot the girlfriend in the chest. Defendant didn't say anything to the victim or the girlfriend. His gun eventually ran out of bullets, and then he walked back to his car and drove away. A witness was on the balcony of her 2nd-story motel room when she heard gunfire. The balcony faced Liberty Court. She saw defendant's car and the Corolla in the alley and saw defendant get out of his car and walk toward the other car as he fired a gun. According to the witness, defendant fired at the windshield as he walked to the car, and he fired the final shots as he stood at the driver's side window. Defendant then quickly walked back to his car. He threw the gun inside the car, got in, and drove straight down the alley towards 3rd Street. The victim was slumped over in the driver's seat, unresponsive. He died at the scene. The girlfriend had injuries to her right breast, her side, and her left leg. The paramedics transported her to the hospital. Deputy Medical Examiner Job Augustine performed the autopsy on the victim. The manner of death was homicide, and the cause of death was 3 penetrating gun wounds to the victim's head. The victim suffered a 4th non-fatal gunshot wound to his right upper lip. Defendant was arrested on April 4, 2017. During the search of his home, the police found the license plates for defendant's car on top of a pile of clothes. Defendant pled not guilty. After trial, the jury found defendant guilty of 2nd-degree murder and attempted murder. It also found Thru the firearm enhancements. The court sentenced the defendant to 72 years to life in state prison. Trevor McCraney was 22 years old at the time of death.